Hey everybody, welcome to Ticket Stubs and Popcorn. I'm Peter.
Such fanfare. Ticket stubs and pie. There we go. And I'm Frank.
I love our product. What
Yeah,
can you say?
no. We're a very exciting show. We are. Hey, so we are.
The featured actor today is Helen Mirren.
Helen Mirren. She's fantastic. So
Certainly is.
So before we get going, something to chat about at the end. The what's a satisfying end to a series, whether it be a TV series or a series or like a movie series, whether it be a trilogy, not like a satisfying end to a movie, but I mean like a series. So I'm probably referring to either like a mini series or a TV series.
Okay.
So what's a satisfying end to one of those?
All right.
So
Gotcha.
let's keep that in. Think about that. So I'm going to start off with Helen Mirren.
Sure, go ahead.
All right. So, first thing that comes to mind with Helen Mirren is the Queen. Mm-hmm. Because if you're of a certain age and you're British, you're playing the Queen. You're a decent female actor. It's your turn. You're playing the Queen or someone associated with the Queen. You just do. Or you're in a Harry Potter movie. So.
That's right.
But I mean, it's like okay. Who's all the greats who?
When you say Queen, we're not talking Bohemian Rhapsody.
I am not talking about that. I am not talking about a queen or queen. I'm talking about the Queen.
The Queen.
The Queen. Right. So because Judi Dench, bam, played Queen. All right, Kate Blanchett, you're in the room. All right, fine. You're gonna play Queen. All right, Helen Mirren, you got some acting chops. You're pretty good at what you do. Bam, you're the Queen. All right, you stand still long enough, and you're British, and damn it, we're doing a Queen movie. You're in it,
and that crown fits. You're the Queen.
The crown fits exactly. It's the whole Johnny Bravo of being an English woman.
You got it.
But anyway, but she's just again a long line of women who have played the Queen. I think she's great in that, and there's all the requisite Queen stuff. She's tough and she's strong, and she just commands. Of my favorite queens, I would probably go Judi Dench, and then Helen Mirren, and then Kate Blanchett. So, of my favorite, the queens. So, and then of course, you get into the Richard Simmons.
Wow, you went there.
I did go there. Why not? Why not? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
I'm sweating to the old.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna cancel me? You're gonna bring it. Anyway, so we get controversy, that's good for us. We'll get more attention.
He's Frank.
And I have to be, because I am. So anyway, she's great, the Queen. I do want to talk about her in Red.
Yes.
Because it's great, because it's
I'm glad that you picked this movie.
Yeah, it's great because it's sort of all these.
There's two of them, but this.
Yeah, there's two of them, but the first one I think is really fun because
I do too.
This one is more fun because it's kind of surprising because
exactly
it's like the grumpy old men of like spy action movies. You got an aging Bruce Willis. You've got John Malkovich.
And those are the two young ones.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
When you think of everybody else in the movie,
they're
the young ones.
But Helen Mirren is great, and just to see her rocking this badass machine gun, it's just... Yeah, and just being a sharpshooter and being a killer, it's just, it's fantastic. So I love her in that, because again, it's just, hey, look, it's the Queen! And she's about to shoot somebody in the head.
You got it.
Or she's like burning, and she's bleaching or doing something, putting acid on her body in a bathtub.
You got it.
Because that's awesome.
It's what you need to do.
Right? Yeah, tricks of the trade. So, and then my other one is The Good Liar. This one I want to talk about for a little bit longer because it's one of these, it's tough because there's such a great, have you seen it? There's a great twist at the end that I don't want to give too much away. Yep. But it is like this mad cat and mouse game where Ian McKellen is this like con man, and but she kind of knows. It's great, And the way he's playing her, and then she's playing him, and then there's this whole other thing going on. It is great. And it's great because they could have given this movie, I mean, given the story, you couldn't have given it to like actors who were much younger. But
Yes,
they needed
correct.
to be older people, given the story. But it's so great because there is a romantic element to it. You don't see like a romantic courting kind of thing going on too much with an older couple, but
Correct.
this is sort of a big part of the story. And it plays beautifully. It really does, because there's so many things going on so many levels, and she's fantastic, and I just absolutely love her.
Wonderful.
So yeah, go ahead.
Helen
Helen Mirren, what do you
Okay.
got? Do we overlap at all?
We do overlap.
We do.
With,
Not all three.
with one movie.
With one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll go right to it right now. The Queen.
Okay.
And I always wonder. I've done this many times in the past. I always wonder: is it tougher to play a biopic, a real person? And in this case, if you think of the actor Helen Mirren, a woman of a certain age and British, from the time she was like 6 or 7, and Helen Mirren is not a young woman.
No.
From the age of 6 or 7, Queen Elizabeth II has been her queen.
Yeah.
And you wonder, like, the
Oops.
Queen, who's still alive today,
gotta be careful here.
is old enough to be Helen Mirren's mother. And you got to wonder, she's taking this role on, and it's just because it's represents your country, and here you are representing the woman who represents your country.
You gotta wonder, do you think the Queen do you think she sees all these movies
I don't
where
know.
she members of her family
That's a good point.
are portrayed?
Or do you think, do
throughout
other
history?
people in the family see it, and Charles is watching the movie and goes, "Ooh, geez, I hope my mom doesn't watch this
Right?
one," or "Ooh, I hope she
That's
does see
gotta
this
be
one."
because there's so many of them.
Yeah,
Like I can't.
yeah.
I don't know.
And so in this movie, the Queen, Helen Mirren, because she represents, the sovereign of her country, and for so many people, she represents the country. So she was bred to do one thing. She has to live up to it, and you wonder, like,
the way you said she's bred to do it. I mean, it's just.
well, you know what I meant. She was raised.
I mean, come on. It's just like she's bred to do like my border collie was bred to take care of sheep.
You know what I'm saying.
I know.
They
I'm just saying,
have
it
to
just makes it
reproduce
sound-
to make the next
Makes
generation.
it just sound very,
keep
very
it going.
in a lab, very clinical.
Yeah, could have been. We don't know.
This is true.
But and so she has to play this woman whose life is controlled by convention, and you have to be a certain way, and that's how she has to be in the public.
Yeah.
And when she is in the public eye, or she speaks to the public, that's what it is. But then we see some scenes where, I'm not saying that their guard is ever down, but if it's just the family, you wonder, is this how it is behind the scenes?
Yeah.
Because I don't know.
Yeah.
Who would know?
Who would know?
There's only 4 or 5 people.
I mean, that's
that
interesting
immediate
because-
family who might go in and out of the room.
You want
who knows?
authenticity, but then it's just how do you get that authenticity?
But
because
you
members of the
do-
household
Yeah,
going to talk with
exactly.
such,
But it does
detail.
seem like there's a good, relationship, and this old married couple feel.
Yeah.
That they, so it's interesting to see the performance and pulled that off tremendously.
All right.
A second pick for me is a movie called The Last Station, and maybe 2010, 2011, something like that, 10 years or so ago. It's a movie about Leo Tolstoy.
Oh yeah. I never saw this.
The Russian novelist, and that's wonderfully portrayed by Christopher Plummer, and she is the Countess Sophia Tolstoy, and she's his wife, and they're an older couple, and the thing that makes it interesting is there's like a wrinkle later, fairly late in life for them, whereas the Tolstoy character, the Christopher Plummer role, he's coming to like a newer realization, and he wants to like live a certain way.
Yeah.
He wants to like maybe kind of become a little more minimalistic, maybe. You might want to live a little more celibate, maybe. Even there's certain things that he's trying to hold things to a higher standard, and one of them is maybe signing off all of his rights to all of his literary works to the people of Russia. And all of a sudden, his wife Sophia's
She's
like,
like,
wait a minute,
wait a minute.
you've
We
got
need
me
to talk
to
about
take care
this."
of, and you've got children, although they're like older. But no, we've got me to think about. And it's like she's very vocal and very demonstrative, and trying to pull strings, trying to figure out what's going on. Is somebody else trying to like infiltrate, try to brainwash him, work, this sort of thing. So that's an interesting movie.
Cool.
It's a very, very good portrayal by her. So that was my second pick, and third one goes back a little bit. Not for the squeamish. The Cook, the Thief, his wife, and her lover.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
late 80s maybe.
vaguely remember this movie.
It got threatened by the Motion Picture Association, saying, you cannot release this movie unless you are willing to do a lot to it. It's not going to get an R rating. So ball's in your court. You decide if you want to release it as an X.
Oh, that's
You can do it,
Yeah.
but that's death. Or you could come up with something that's NC-17, which isn't going to help either,
Right.
but it's not death like the X rating. And so in order to get played in mainstream movies, they went with the NC-17. And it's, if you can't figure by the title, she is the wife of the thief of that long title. And she is abused by a rude, crude, nasty
Son of a bitch.
husband who is a thief and a thug, a British, mobster kind of thing. Uncouth, boorish, every possible, and those are his good points.
Yeah.
And she's just abused and treated crappily, which her husband earlier in the movie did treat somebody crappily. That's how bad this guy is. And but she has a lover, and her husband finds out about it. He kills him, and she gets sweet, twisted, nasty revenge on him. And it's crazy. It is not for the squeamish. This
May have
this
to
has
revisit that.
every
I vaguely remember this
bad
movie.
vice it's demonstrated
Yeah.
in this movie.
All right.
And she is great in it. She's wonderful. Georgina, I think her name. That's her name. But yeah, wonderful.
Yeah, she's
That's
she's got some fun stuff.
the cook, the thief, his wife, and her lover.
And her lover. All right, cool. So, question at the end: series or like what? Like a good end, like a good series or
Yeah.
trilogy? Like what do you got?
I don't know how neatly or satisfactorily it wraps it up.
Well, something you
one of my
found satisfying.
favorite endings
Mhm.
of a series is the Newhart
Okay.
show, which harkened back to the Bob Newhart show.
Right. Yeah.
So that one ends with a dream,
Right. Yeah.
which made it seem as if
so,
the
yeah,
entire
that was
X
fun.
amount
That
of
was clever.
years of a series, however many seasons that show had, it's harkening back to an earlier show which just had the same lead actor in common, Bob Newhart, and so it's leading the audience to believe that the other series was a complete dream
Yeah,
from
it
the
was a
character
brilliant-
of the other
Yeah.
one.
It was
a
brilliant.
great
It was
piece
really,
of
really
writing.
funny. Yeah.
It's a good thought went into
Yeah.
that one.
That was funny. That was a good
So
series ending.
I really loved that little twist. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm coming up with anything else quickly
Well,
enough.
again, I might. So I recently finished watching The West Wing.
Mhm.
Now this was an interesting little journey for me because I remember watching it when it was first out. I probably made it through like the first 2 or 3 seasons
Mhm.
as it was coming out, and then life gets in the way and you sort of lose track of it.
Yeah,
and
then
then,
you try to get,
And then you try, but then you hear things. So one thing about this rewatch, one thing that I had heard over the years was that one character, there's an explosion during a trip overseas, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe that they killed off this character, right? And I don't know. I mean, I don't want to spoil anything. Or is anybody going back to watch West Wing?
You just did.
I just did. Okay, but here's the thing. So I was watching. I saw this. I kind of knew it was coming, and I was sort of emotionally prepared for this person to die.
Uh-huh.
All right. So in that explosion, not like 1 or 2 of the characters, people that you know, die. So this one character that I'm thinking of, they end up in a hospital. So I'm just like, okay. So then we sort of follow their journey in the hospital, and I'm just expecting, like, every episode, because it is toward the end of a season, I'm just expecting, like, okay, it's the last episode of this season. Now this person's going to die. Something's going to happen in the hospital. Complications, they're going to die. It didn't happen. So I'm just like, all right. So then you get into the next season, and you're just...
Are they still alive?
Like, now I'm at a point where I'm just like, will you just fucking die? Like, I think they weren't dying. So, and then it ends up that this person does not die. And for years, I held on to this thing going, oh my God, it's a real shame that this person dies because there were so many things I would have liked to see for this person, all of which, and like all the things that I wanted for this character, by the end of the series, end up happening. They have a nice relationship. They have a satisfying career move. And it's just, but all the while, like there's this period of time where I'm just like, you just died. Kill this person. So there's one thing.
Hey.
But I got to tell you, the end of this series was both satisfying and extremely depressing.
Well,
Because it, like, you're really happy with where everybody ends up. And everybody ends up kind of where they should be, like, story-wise. Like, nothing is outlandish or crazy or anything like that. Or, oh, this one, like, it worked out really, really well. But because it is a story about politics in this country of ours, and given what we've lived through
And
recently
right.
with, political crap going on, it's really depressing because you want... Like, there are characters, but there are characters in this show for whom, like, public service, like, it matters.
Yeah.
And
It's a calling.
yeah, it's a calling, and there's honor to it. And there may be characters that you disagree with, but everybody, like, this is like someone walks into the Oval Office and they just, and it's not someone who's a president or even like a cabinet member, right? There's someone,
It's like
just
a team member.
like it just,
They
right? It means something, and it's not that the president means it. It's something that, like, the office means something. It's like what it represents, and it's so sad that the reality is so different and disgusting. So that was, but it was a very satisfying ending. And another one for me was, and I'm going to get a lot of crap for this, was Lost. Now, I saw Lost.
I never watched.
I watched
Yeah.
Lost as it was broadcast, and the ending was a little like,
Excuse
wait a
me.
minute, I think this is what happened. Wait a minute, I think this maybe that this happened. And then you listen to podcasts and you get, well, maybe this is what it is. But I did within the last year or so, I did a total rewatch of Lost. And along the way, I like kept track of questions I had, answers I had, theories I had.
All right,
Like,
fanboy.
No, totally. I was obsessive. Like when I had a theory, I would go back and it's like, okay, I was wrong because of this,
That's
this.
right.
Like
This couldn't have
there's
happened because
like
this.
questions and comments and stuff. I have a list of like 120 different things. But following it with that type of intensity, I understand the ending. And this is the third time I've been through the show. I have an understanding of the ending, and I understand it better, and I appreciate it better. And but I also understand why people don't get it or don't appreciate
Or
it.
could be upset.
Because
Yeah.
what they did was not. They were dead. They weren't dead because it's a mixture of things that happened between the flashbacks and the flash forwards and where time went in. This show was a lot of work, and which I appreciate. You know, it makes it more
Well,
more exciting for me.
you just kind of made me think about some other. And St. Elsewhere had a fantastic finish. I won't, just if you could see the ending
Well, that
of that
ended
one.
30-something years
Yeah,
ago.
exactly.
You're spoiling it.
No, but it's you don't. I think it's if you could see some and then
Yeah.
just see how it ended. The Prisoner, which is an old '60s TV
Yeah.
show, great ending. You know what I mean? Makes you. There's like some that work, but though it also makes you appreciate more recent series have some sort of resolution,
Yeah.
whether or not it's satisfying or not. But there were like series in the 60s and 70s, didn't know the plug was going to get pulled. And all of a sudden you're like, what do you mean, Gilligan? They're still trapped on the island?
Yeah.
I'm joking. But you know what I mean? There's a lot of shows that just ended because nobody gave them any advance warning.
Right.
It just ended.
And they're
Oh, we're not going back to film another? Nope, you
No.
finished.
But now I think that networks and people who own these properties, they see the value
Oh,
in
they
like,
definitely
let's finish
do.
stuff off. Oh,
Yeah.
we could throw it onto a streaming service,
Oh, yes.
stuff like
Yeah.
that. I thought that Frasier,
I
I thought that Frasier had a great
was
ending. I thought it was great because he went to Seattle and
Yeah.
he did what he needed to do. Like he's a healer, and I think that his journey
Mm.
in Seattle, I think was done. His father was
His father's
right,
is taken care of.
right. His father's taken care of. His brother is taken care of,
Yeah.
and Frasier can now go on to his next
To
thing.
do
And he
whatever
came
he
back
can do.
into
Yeah.
his brother and his father's lives at a time when they needed to be together. And I thought that was great, and it helped Frasier heal
Yeah.
from all of his stuff. And it was
Yeah.
fantastic that he could then go on to another adventure. I am terrified to think of what, because they're talking about rebooting it or sort of starting
Oh,
up again.
I didn't even hear that.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
that does frighten me
it
too.
does. It does. So it's tough. I mean, the people who are involved in it, maybe they'll be able to do it well.
Yeah,
but
no,
it's just
possibly,
like,
but it does scare me though.
yeah. I mean,
first thing
like
is
Mad
fear.
About You, they came up with another season of that. I
Right.
loved that show, and but did that last season need to happen? I haven't even watched that final, came out a year or so ago. I haven't watched that yet, but I don't know that I really want to. I don't know.
Yeah.
What else do they?
I
mean, you want to revisit
like,
people, but
Yeah, I like the Frasier series. Matter of fact, I don't know if it's common or if it's uncommon. I actually liked the Frasier series a little more than the Cheers series, and I know
yeah,
you wouldn't have gotten into it without the other, but you know what I'm saying. As stuff went on, I really settled into that Frasier show and
Yeah, I
the
thought
characters.
it was great. It ended
wonderful.
great.
Yeah.
A bad ending, How I Met Your Mother, that was terrible. So terrible.
And I think there is so much expectation where I have a feeling that no matter what, you know, whatever Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld were going to do, I think coming up with a satisfying finale to Seinfeld, because it was always the show about nothing. It's tough to make
that
ending a satisfying one. So it wasn't.
But it wasn't. It was a clip
It was
show.
an ending.
Yeah, it was a clip show.
Yeah.
You
But
could
so
have gotten
it's-
sort of like
Yeah.
philosophical and existential about it, and it's just like, oh, here are the four, and it reminded me somewhat of the play No Exit, you know, hell is other people, you could say, but the problem is that their hell wasn't other people, they were hell to other people.
To other people.
So if you want, like, if you want to try to elevate that ending to something that's a little bit more esoteric or philosophical and a little bit more, you know, give that a paint job of intellectualism, yeah, you could paint it with that whole thing, but I just think it was lazy.
I do think, though, that it was also doomed not to be, the finale was not going to be the classic because of how the show just would run. You know what I mean? To like make a satisfying ending, because it's almost like, no, that's going to keep going on. You know, I don't know how you do an ending for it.
Yeah.
That well.
Yeah, you would have to just...
It's just status
stop.
quo for them.
Yeah, exactly. Because
So
there
there's
was
no like real ending.
Yeah,
you know?
and there was no arc in that. Nobody grew. Nobody changed.
Nobody wanted
It was
to.
truly,
We didn't even want them to
right.
change.
It was truly episodic with a couple of sort of running jokes
like
throughout.
Right.
You know, it's like George didn't get a career going.
Right.
You know what I mean? Elaine didn't. It's not like, you know, someone's relationship. It was just these guys and their stuff. So
and once in a while they would be trying to write for TV. Oh, we're going to fly them to Hollywood.
Right.
You know, there would be a couple of things like that that would like be a little longer.
Yeah, they were a little bit of a
be
story, but that was also later in the series. And it was just like, oh, okay, you know,
it's
George's
cute. It's like a
dead,
thing inside it, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, but in a way, that's almost easier for them to do because then they get to stretch that story out over a season, and it's just like, okay, we'll just make this about this instead of having to come up with, you know, 22 more episodes that are as good as them waiting for a table at a Chinese restaurant or walking around a garage looking for a car. I mean, those are brilliant, but how many of those can you do?
Yeah. Well, you know, I took it as a cautionary tale. Just spend a little extra money on the gummed envelopes. Because, you know, if you go for the cheap stuff,
that's
you
gonna
never know.
happen.
You never know.
Anyway, let us know what you think about a good series ending or if you liked Lost.
You know something? We started going off at the end. I mean, we were just
really on a rant there. So let's decide who's next.
All good.
Well, we don't decide who.
Yeah,
the bucket decides. The bucket.
It's like the magic 8 ball.
The bucket
it tells
speaks.
us what to do.
Well, actually, this says answer unclear. So
that's right.
There you go.
Too soon to tell.
Yeah.
All signs point to yes, or whatever they were.
Ask again in 10 minutes. What? All right, folks.
Okay.
We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye.